This is about a small conflict my boyfriend, male 33, and I, female 31, had this week. We've been together for 9 months. He's a pediatrician, and I have a job at an elementary school. He's sweet and makes me feel happy whenever we're together. He has been missing me lately and has been wanting me to visit, and he was too busy, so I only got the chance to visit yesterday. So we sat down in the living room of his apartment, and he was about to make some coffee when the door rang 13 minutes after I arrived. He went to take a look through the hole, then returned and asked me to get up and follow him to the kitchen. I asked why, but he didn't say. So he had me enter the kitchen and told me his 2 friends, his work colleagues, doctors came to visit, and he wanted me to sit tight for a few minutes till they left. I was confused. I asked why not just let me meet them, and he said no, not like this, and asked me to come out to the kitchen till they leave, then went to welcome them. I sat still as the time passed. They stayed for an hour, and I started calling Donnie, but he didn't answer me. I felt uncomfortable and couldn't wait anymore after I was ignored like that. So I took my purse, walked out the kitchen, told Donnie that I got bored of waiting for his friends to leave, then said I was leaving and walked through the door immediately feeling upset. He was stunned and so were his friends. He called me later, saying what I did was disrespectful and rude. He said he asked me this one favor, and I didn't do it. I replied that I left because of the treatment I received. No matter how much he tells me to make myself at home, I was still a guest, and I was made to feel like I was less than his doctor friends. But he swore it wasn't like that, and that he considers himself lucky to have known me, but still said what I did was not cool, and leaving like that, and saying what I did in front of his friends was wrong of me. He claimed they were talking about stuff I wouldn't understand, and I'd feel awkward sitting there not knowing what they were talking about. He also said I should have made myself busy making dinner in the kitchen, instead of waiting till his friends leave, so we agreed to eat dinner together, but I ruined our plans. I've already met his family and other people, but none are in the same field. So, am I the idiot here? He's either ashamed of you or he's got a girlfriend at work. This isn't a small issue. It's a deal breaker. Are you a doormat? Please do yourself a favor and reevaluate your self-worth, because you deserve better. This is breakup material. I'm sorry. If hiding her away like some shameful secret wasn't enough of a deal breaker on its own, him suggesting she should have just played housewife and cooked him dinner while he's pretending like she doesn't exist is enough to dump this man on his sorry butt this very second and never speak to him again. He doesn't respect you, OP, at all. You deserve better. I am baffled and cannot imagine why he didn't want you to meet his friends, quote, like this. What precisely was the issue? Why was he so insistent that they not know you exist or meet them like this, whatever that means? That sounds very sketchy to me. On top of that, why did he make you wait for an hour in a boring kitchen on one of the rare few occasions you could visit? It sounds like he didn't miss you at all. If they were coming over and he didn't want them to meet you, why did he invite you? It sounds like he's embarrassed she isn't a doctor. She's met his family and friends, not in his field, but he wouldn't let her meet his doctor friends. He must have lied about what she does and is scared it'll come out if she engages with them or something. It sounds like he sucks, and he's rude even if that's not the case. Any decent human would do better than this. Not the idiot. That's crazy sketchy and raises so many red flags. I immediately would think they're either doing something illegal or you are probably the other woman he doesn't want them to know about. Either way, there is a 0% chance that you hiding in the kitchen was innocent or nothing to worry about. He's the one hiding something. Good on you for standing up for yourself. My son, young tween, and I went trick-or-treating like we usually do, and the night was going well except when we got to a house that had a bowl of candy sitting on the porch. It said, "Take 2, please." So he puts his whole hand in there and grabs about 6 pieces. Of course, I corrected him and made him put 4 of them back, explaining he needed to leave some for the others. From then on, he had an attitude. And the last straw was when I told him to stop grabbing so much candy from people, and he screamed no. We had only been out for about an hour, so I took him right home. I took his candy bag, dumped it in a bowl, and told him to come sit outside on the porch with me. He objected, of course, and as kids came by and took handfuls of his candy, he complained they were taking too much, and I told him that he shouldn't have done the same then. His father came home from work and asked why he was in his room crying, to which I explained why. He said it was really cruel to give away the kids' candy just because he was taking a little too much. I said he needed to learn not to be so greedy, to which my husband said that, "It's okay, it's Halloween." He said I was being a jerk and that I should cut some slack for the one holiday that kids get to pick out. I disagree, although I figured I could have done this differently. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The outbursts are what get me. When he screamed no, more specifically, it sounded to me like a test of boundaries, as he knew perfectly well what was expected of him and purposefully crossed the line to see if his behavior would be corrected. And you did that. He learned a lesson when he became resentful that the other kids were taking too much. That's what his behavior looks like, but from the view of others. You are the idiot. I was completely on board with you making your son put back the extra candy and ending trick-or-treating early. However, I think making him give away all his candy to other kids is crossing the line. A lot of people on here are forgetting that this child is pretty young. Yes, he's not a toddler, but that's still a very, very young age. And sometimes they're being unreasonable. That's because he's a kid. I would have taken away his candy and made him earn it back with good behavior. I think the lesson you were trying to teach your son is valid, but the execution towards the end was bad. I agree with you. Making him deserve his treats is a good idea, and sometimes being too strict with your kids just makes their resentment grow towards you, and the lessons you'll try to teach them will affect them less, or even have the opposite effect from what you wanted to do. Plus, making your kid cry on Halloween night must feel bad for everyone. Some of these comments are very strange. Cruel? Cut contact over candy? This was an entirely proportionate consequence for poor behavior. Missing out on candy on one occasion is not a significant punishment. It's related to poor behavior and completed immediately, i.e. no ongoing punishment. Too many children don't have parents or guardians who care enough to set reasonable boundaries with proportionate consequences like this. Not the idiot. I, 31 female, work at a top consulting firm, and recently we hired Jane, 30, who reports recursively to my peers' team. I have not worked with their team on projects so far, but as my peer and I landed a major account, we will see more of each other. Last week, Jane scheduled a one-to-one with me. Basically, she read me a riot act, saying that I should step down from the project because I ruined her life when we were children. She is traumatized by me being the lead for the project, and that if I had any remorse, I would step aside on this project and let my peer take over, and that I owe her this much courtesy. I was so taken aback by this that I was silent throughout it all and ended the meeting by saying, "I see my past actions deeply hurt you. Let's take some space and let me think about this." In our work Slack, she's been pinging me every other day, asking when I will be stepping down. I have no idea how to handle this. I can't step down because I landed this account, and even if I could step down, this would completely derail my trajectory to principal. I scoured my memory for bullying and asked my close friends from childhood, who all told me the same version of this story from when we were 13 and 14, and I do recall this. We were all in Chinese school together, and we did not like how Jane would copy our outfits and how Jane would lie to fit in with us. We found her to be very annoying, so I did not invite her to my birthday party or any events where I included the other girls. She found out, since none of us were at Chinese school, and her mom called all our moms and yelled at them for excluding Jane. When I asked my mom about this, my mom said that she had no idea who Jane's mom was at the time, and that she didn't think I was doing much at Chinese school anyways. I definitely see how this would be awful for a 13-year-old to be ostracized by another group of girls. At the same time, I find it deeply unprofessional how she behaved at work. I scheduled an HR meeting for later this week because I'm at a loss for what I should do here. Am I the idiot because I refuse to step down from a project, because a woman I formerly bullied is on the team, and because I'm going to HR to resolve this? Edit. I hesitate to go to HR because if I go to HR, this will reflect very poorly on Jane. I am 2 levels above her, and my peer is her skip manager. Jane's manager's manager. I've been at the company for 4+ years and bring in significant amounts of revenue, and Jane is an MBA new hire and has been with us for less than 3 months. If I go to HR, the best scenario is that she's given a warning, and my peer will find out through her report. Long term, this will negatively impact Jane's ability to grow at the company. So, nearly 2 decades ago, you didn't invite a girl who wasn't your friend to a birthday party and other events. That doesn't give her the right to demand that you stand aside in your job now. I'm sure you can apologize. I'm sorry I hurt you in the past, and work professionally now. It's not like you're asking her to be buddy-buddy. Just do what's needed in a job. Not the idiot. She could possibly use some therapy if she's still so wound up about childhood nonsense, because kids do many silly things. Yes, like, girl, I'm sorry I was an idiot, but that was like 20 years ago. I will keep my interactions with you to a minimum, but unfortunately I'm not stepping down. I would just offer a heartfelt apology and leave it at that. Unfortunately, you might be running into each other more, and she cannot just ask you to remove yourself to lessen her interactions with you. If it's that traumatizing, perhaps she should look for a job elsewhere. Not the idiot. You should absolutely leave this with HR and not engage with Jane about this at all. Give HR a factual account about what you know and can remember of the past, all the details and messages about the recent conversation, and let them deal with it. This is a Jane issue, not a you issue. Her request is completely unreasonable and, to be honest, sounds unhinged. It's ridiculous to ask that you'd hand over a major career achievement because Jane's feelings were hurt when you were both children. Update: HR moved our meeting up, and long story short, Jane will no longer be working on my account, nor will she continue working at the company due to violating company values. This, unfortunately, is the worst possible scenario and does not help Jane's dim view of me. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and my husband works full-time. We have 3 kids, and one of them is 2 years old. My husband helps a lot with the kids. He's a committed dad, but is absolutely against babysitters due to an awful incident with a babysitter. That was why his younger male cousin James got disabled years ago. I don't go out much since I have to take the kids with me, and not every place is suitable for kids. We received an invitation for my brother's, who has been my husband's friend since college, wedding, which we later discovered was child-free. My brother lives states away, so the entire trip will take 4 days, and my brother's in-laws' weekend dinner party, their tradition. I told my husband I wanted to go, since it's been a while since I've been to a wedding, and this one is special, and suggested we get a trusted friend as a babysitter. He asked if I was serious about considering leaving our baby with a babysitter, and suggested that I do what I usually do and stay home with the kids while he goes to the wedding. I refused and said I had as much right to attend as him, since we were both invited. He said it wasn't his fault my brother wants a child-free wedding, and I should do this for the kids and sacrifice for their sake. I still refused and said this was unfair, and since he's a parent too, he should also stay for the kids. He looked at me and said, "That's my best friend's wedding you're asking me to skip, for Christ's sake. Are you kidding me?" Then he said I was petty for suggesting this, and that I was basically choosing to go and party over keeping our kids safe. He asked me to consider if this was a business trip, what would I do? Go with him and leave the kids? I said I understand his paranoia of babysitters, but really all my friends have sitters, and they're really needed at times. He said I ought to know better than what my friends tell me, and this wasn't even up for discussion, which I kept arguing. He called me selfish and said he wouldn't let me ruin his relationship with his friend because I was spiteful for not being able to attend, and that my brother would understand my situation. He keeps asking what's more important, a wedding party or my kids, and said I was unreasonable for making my attendance the hill to die on. Am I the idiot? Am I selfish for wanting to attend this wedding, my brother's wedding, after 4 years of not attending anything? Not the idiot. I have a hard time believing your husband is a good dad. Every single sentence from him smells like entitlement and selfishness. If you can't go to your brother's wedding, neither can he. Why doesn't he stay home and you attend? Since this never came to his mind, he thinks less of you and your needs. You are the servant for the children, not his wife, who is on the same level. This wedding shows you what kind of person your husband is and what he thinks of you. Literally every single accusation he's trying to throw at OP is equally applicable to him. The hypocrisy and obtuseness are truly astounding. The worst thing is OP had a compromise, having a babysitter for once in their children's lives. But husband is all, your brother is my friend, so I should have priority over you. Also, how will OP's family react when she skips out on her brother's wedding? I wonder how often OP's husband babysits, so she can go out and do anything adult-related. It sounds like he never does. Not the idiot. This is insane. It's your husband's brother and somehow your husband thinks he's the one who should get to go? When he's the whole reason you can't both go, because of his unreasonable paranoia about hiring a babysitter. Honestly, if I were you, I'd be prepared to die on this hill. He got away with holding you hostage to this nonsense for years. There is not one single logical reason why he should be allowed to attend rather than you. My 19 parents divorced 3 years ago. My mom remarried soon after to her husband who has 5 kids. As a result, I have 3 younger biological siblings. My siblings spend more time with my dad because there's a lot more room and less chaos. Anyways, my mom and her husband have been really tight on money since moving in together. And because of that, they can never afford to buy the kids presents for their birthdays and Christmas. Last year, my dad spoiled my siblings and bought a ton of gifts. And when they went back to my mom's house, my step-siblings were upset that they didn't get the same things. It's the same thing with birthdays. My dad got me a car when I turned 18, and my stepbrother was pissed off when I wouldn't let him use it. Anyways, my dad took my siblings to a late back-to-school shopping since my mom couldn't afford to take them, and I later drove them back to my mom's house. The same thing happened. The other kids were mad, even though my mom took them back to school shopping already, and my mom got angry, etc. My mom later pulled me aside and asked, since I'm making more money now, if I could pitch in with Christmas gifts, as it's looking like they won't have enough saved up for 5 kids in time. I told her straight up I was not pitching in. She got pissed and said they'll have a sad Christmas this year by seeing my siblings get all the good, expensive gifts because they won't get the same. I said no again, and them having a sad Christmas was not my problem. She called me heartless and selfish, and for only thinking of myself. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. You didn't decide to get divorced to make a family with 9 kids you cannot adequately provide for to your liking. Christmas gifts are nice, but it's not food or shelter. OP, your mom is delusional if she thinks that suddenly introducing 5, 6 including the stepdad, new people to her kids, and then making them feel bad for enjoying the same quality of life that they had pre-divorce will result in a happy blended family. And she will make her bio kids not want to visit her. Not the idiot. They're her kids, not yours. It sounds like your bio siblings have to start keeping all their nice stuff at your father's place to prevent stepkids from complaining or destroying or stealing it out of jealousy. Or perhaps get you, your siblings, and your dad to revisit the custody plan if your mom won't stop nagging you for money. Also, I think it would be kind for you to get your step-siblings each a small gift, which is clearly from you. It would probably mean a great deal to them. However, it's not your responsibility to cover your mom and stepdad's expenses. I tried to last year. My dad helped me buy all of us matching Christmas onesies, and only my siblings wore them. My step-siblings didn't even care to say thank you. They only want expensive gifts, nothing less.